Zaidi. Recording, continue. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Zaidi. I am associate professor here at Louisiana State University, Shreveport. I'm going to share my screen so you get some information. And I'm going to be switching back and forth from this screen to myself. Um, when I'm speaking, you can, certainly ask me any question that you have. I'll take a pause at the end of every screen, and then if you have any questions, you can ask, or you can wait until the end of the presentation, and we can do question answer session towards the end. So the topic of our presentation today is seeking a PhD after the graduate school. As you see here, the header says CSU MBA Speaker Series. So I am a CSUSB product. I did my master's from Cal State San Bernardino in 2007. Okay, that's long ago. So I always start my presentations in school and wherever I go with the quote, and the quote of the day is, work hard in silence, let your success be your noise. Okay. So some of my background information that I want to give you. Currently, I'm an associate professor at Louisiana State University, Shreveport. I joined here in 2019. I was, before Louisiana, I was at California State University, San Marcos. The time I left there, I was a department chair of the accounting department. I also taught at Midwestern State University in Wichita Falls, Texas, and the University of Texas at El Paso, where I did my PhD. So during the PhD program, I taught 4 years. So PhD students at some schools are required to teach throughout the program. So this is my tenure over there from 2008 to 2012. My academic degrees, I have earned a PhD from UT El Paso in international business with a specialization in accounting, my MBA in accounting from Cal State San Bernardino, my BS from Cal State Long Beach, and BBA from the University of Peshawar, Pakistan. My BS was in finance, and then I switched it to accounting. I'm a certified management accountant and certified fraud examiners. And if you want to find more, interested in looking at more information about me, you can also visit my website, drsayedzaidi.weebly.com. So this is a little bit of background information about me. Do you have any questions? And you can type in a chat box too.
Feel free to speak up if you have a question, guys.
Okay. So motivation, what made me decide that I want to pursue my PhD? First of all, my family background. I belong to a teacher's family. My mom is a retired high school principal. All my sisters, they are also teach at either college or high schools. One of them is a lecturer or assistant professor at the college, and two of them are high school teachers. And several of my uncles and aunts were professors at colleges. Okay. So that runs in my blood. My other motivations were my professor at Cal State Long Beach when I was doing my undergrad, and Dr. Mahapatra, he was accounting professor. He inspired me and he recommended me. I was doing pretty good in his class. I was the highest ranking student, and he inspired me and he recommended me to go for a PhD. That's the route I should pursue. And then at Cal State San Bernardino, Dr. Ha, he teaches managerial accounting. So regardless of what major you are, you may have taken his class, Dr. Ha. If you are an accounting major, you would have taken controllership with him as well. So he's the one who teaches, he's the only one who teaches controllership, I believe, over there. So he inspired me. He showed me the shortage in the accounting faculty, right? My background is accounting, so I'll be focusing more on accounting, but it applies to everyone. So there was a shortage in accounting faculty, and the pay, really high pay. So he showed me some data, and I was always interested in doing PhD in mathematics. But after looking at data, the hiring data and the salary, and it was pretty easy for me to make the decision to choose accounting than math. One of the reasons was that the math PhDs end up teaching at high schools or colleges and get a fraction of the pay and end up not even getting a tenure track position. So extrinsic motivations for me was the lifestyle because it allows me, like if you are a professor, you'll be teaching 3 courses. If you go to research school, you'll be teaching 2 courses. So you will have 2 days schedule, Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. So you will have pretty much 5 days off. So you have plenty of time for yourself. You have 3 months off in summer. Then you have 1 month off, 1.5 month off in winter. Then you have a spring break and all other holidays. So you end up not using any of your vacation time. So this is all, above and beyond vacation time and sick days. So, so that was my extrinsic motivation that, okay, if you teach summer, that's an extra pay. Other, if you don't teach it, you get, a really good pay. There is a reliability of the job, when the job market is not doing good, if you are tenure track or if you are tenured, you know that, you are going to stay there, right? They're not going to fire you unless you end up killing someone or something. But other than that, you have a pretty reliable job. The pay is great, for business professors, pretty much everyone, all majors, whether you're supply chain, accounting, finance, you start with 6 figures. So, spending 4 years and starting with 6 figures for the amount of time you spend on your work is pretty good. And then setting up a benchmark, because what motivated me to do PhD was that I wanted to be the highest degree seeker in my family. And so I wanted to set up a benchmark because I am the oldest in my family. So that was another thing that led me to do PhD. So these are some of my motivations to do PhD. Any questions? Some of my former students who are enrolled in the PhD program, just like Dr. Mahapatra and Dr. Ha motivated me to do PhD, I, motivated so many students. Some of them took the challenge and enrolled in the program. The other ones just ignored and, tried to find shortcut and do their own thing, whatever suits you. So Dr. Benjamin Hubel, he came from Germany as a visiting student in 2013 and 14. He already finished his PhD. Right now, he is doing postdoc. So he was my student and he is gonna be a professor because he's doing postdoc. So he's still teaching. He still is a professor, but he's gonna do much better moving forward once he finishes postdoc. Alicia Blush, she was my student at Cal State San Marcos, and she recently started her PhD at Louisiana State University, Baton Rouge. So she is an accounting PhD student. And Sarah Salib, she was my student at California State University, San Marcos, and she has just started her PhD at Texas Tech University, Lubbock, in accounting. So this is some of the background of my students who took the challenge and started the PhD. You have any questions?
Yeah, can you explain what postdoc is exactly?
Postdoc is after you finish your PhD, if you want to do more research, so you can do for another year or two. Mostly in the United States, the postdoc positions are not available. In Europe, European countries, and if you do postdoc in United States, usually in science um, major where there is extreme demand for research, universities provide postdocs, like UTEP provides postdoc for the science majors. But for accounting majors, the PhD is enough. So here in the United States, I'm not aware if any university offers postdoc. So this is another year or two of research if you want to do postdoc.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So this just puts you on a next level. You're still going to be a doctor. You're still going to be a PhD. It just puts you on next level for research that you have already have extensive research in your pipeline if you want to go to a research school. Any other questions? Okay, so where to apply? The first thing that you are going to look for as a business student, because I'm addressing business students, that your PhD program or doctorate program is from an ACSB accredited school. If you go on the hiring website, Hire at Jobs, or any other website where universities are hiring, the first thing they look is that you finished your doctorate with an AACSB accredited school, right? So this is very important. If you are not going to do PhD from an AACSB accredited school, first, you are going to be last in the list. Second, you're going to have hard time finding the schools that hire you. And third time, you're going to end up in a school where you don't want, right? You want to go somewhere you like to live, and not a low pay school, and not teaching at Argosy University, or not that they're bad, but they are not accredited, ACSB accredited. And Cal State San Bernardino is an ACSB accredited institution. So you can see the difference when you go to apply for a PhD or a doctorate. You will see that this will play a major role in your admission as well. So go and get a PhD from ACSB accredited school. There are several others. They are not accredited. Don't go there. What are your options for a doctorate degree in business field? You can do a PhD, which is Doctor of Philosophy, research oriented, or you can do DBA, Doctor of Business Administration. They both are a doctorate degrees, but they are not same. I have been in academia for almost 12 years now, and I've been serving in the hiring committees. And, we have hired professors at Cal State San Marcos. We have hired professors there. I served as the chair of the hiring committee. So we prefer PhDs over DBAs. And the major reason is the kind of a training that PhDs are provided for research or for academic wise, okay, for teaching wise. The DBA is a business degree. It's just like there is a difference between an MBA and MS in accounting, right? MBA is a business degree and MS is a scholastic degree, Masters of Science in accounting, Master of Science of something. So they focus more on research. So PhD is a research oriented degrees, and you will be doing research for any school you go. Even if you go teaching a school, there is a research requirement. So PhD is a better option for you. Now, PhD is full-time, and PhD is not self-financed. PhD program pays you to go for, and do a PhD. So most universities offer somewhere between 2,500 per month to that go up to 4,000 or even more, depending on, you may get some scholarship stuff, but minimum, I think you will get something $2,500 a month if you do a PhD, okay? For a DBA, it's a self-financed, just like an MBA. You're not gonna get paid for while you're doing DBA. You will have to pay out of pocket, and it's gonna be costly. So that's another thing. But DBA you can do while you're working. PhD, no, this is a full-time job. And most DBAs are also require you to focus completely on studies. There are only few good DBA programs out there. Harvard, I think, offers DBA, and Louisiana Tech offers DBA. Other than that, most DBA programs are nowhere close to PhD. So if you get admission in a PhD program, that's a great thing. But yeah, the other option is a DBA, Doctor of Business Administration. If you are looking for working in a company, in a corporate world, the admissions requirement is that you need to have a minimum of undergrad degree. PhD admissions don't require, or DBA don't require a graduate degree. Most of them, they require undergrad degree from an accredited institution. Now, if you did an undergrad from a non-accredited ACSB non-accredited institution, then you will have to do a graduate degree. Like two of my students, as I mentioned, Cal State San Marcos was not AACSB accredited. So they finished her undergrad from there. So they had to go and do a master's. Alicia did her master's from UCI, which is ACSB accredited, and Sarah did her master's from San Diego State University. So you have to go and do master's from there because the last degree is the one that matters. And they will look at it that you are coming from an ACSB accredited institution. So that's one check mark. Okay. If you go with an undergrad, you may have to take some prerequisite courses. If you go with a graduate degree, it would be much better. You don't have to take graduate courses. Some schools who ask you to teach right from the beginning of the semester, like UTEP. So Texas has a requirement that you need to have at least, if you are in accounting, if you're teaching accounting course, you need to have 24 units in accounting, upper division 24 units. And if you have undergrad degree, you may not have 24, undergrad credit or upper division credit. So you may have to take some prerequisite before you teach. If you have a graduate degree, you are going to meet that requirement over there, right? Or if you have switched major, then also it will help if you have a graduate degree. So graduate degree is good, and also help you to prepare for the master's program. Especially if the graduate degree is not MBA, is MS, then you will be doing a little bit of research and taking some research method class, so will be helpful. And MBA is going to be helpful for teaching wise to you. There is a GMAT or GRE requirement. Universities take GRE score, but it's most universities prefer GMAT over GRE. 650. If you get 650, you will get into a PhD program somewhere, right? Definitely not in California. Very few schools in California offers PhD program. So the competition is really tough over there. And they only take each school take like 2 to 3 students per year on a program. So if you're going accounting and you want to apply to UCI and they take 2 to 3 students and there's 150, 200 students are applying, what are the chances? So if you apply over there in UCI, then you may want to have 750, GMAT score. But other than that, 650 would do a good job, even 640. And some schools even take you for 600, depending on if you meet the other requirements or not. They follow holistic approach. If you are an international student, you are required to take TOEFL, IELTS, or PTE. Some universities allow you to take PTE or IELTS. Otherwise, TOEFL is a requirement if you are coming as an international student, or if you are undergrad and graduate degree is from non-English speaking country. Okay. You are going to need letters of recommendations from your supervisors or from your professors. If you are going right after your master's program, then it's great that you can get a recommendations letter from your professors. If you are working, you get a couple, 1 or 2 recommendations from there too. So get a variety of letter of recommendations. Would be good. Get 2 from your school and 1 from your workplace. There is a GPA requirement. Different schools have different requirement, but if you have 3.5 or higher, you can easily fit the profile, right? Again, when you are falling short in some area, you can always recover by doing more in another area. So if you have like a higher GMAT score, like 710, and then your GPA is like 3.4, they will let it go, right? Or if you have a really high GPA score, you're 4.0 graduate and your GMAT is like 620, they may let you go, right? So they follow a holistic approach. They also see that what other areas you have focused during your career, like if you have provided any community service, if you have provided any tutoring, if you have, um, if you were a part of any organization like Beta Alpha Psi or Alpha Gamma Sigma or Beta Gamma Sigma, whatever societies you have. So they will look at that if you have participated in those areas too. So if you are doing good in all areas, then one area can compensate to, if you didn't meet a criteria in another area, so it can compensate. Okay. What are the admission deadlines? Most schools require your admission to be closed almost a year, if not 10 months maybe. So if you are applying for, let's say, fall 2021, then you should finish your application now, like September or October. What happens is a number of students from their own school, they apply for a PhD program. So if UCI is hiring 3 students and, their own students, your master's students are applying, then obviously they're going to get priority over you because they have worked with them, they know them, they know the expectations, and everything, right? So you're competing with their own candidate. So it's really hard to compete against them. Same thing with any other school. If you go out of state, is that if the person over there is doing masters and they are applying for a PhD program, so you are competing with them. So the sooner you apply, the better it is. When I applied for a PhD program, I remember that I started applications in July, and some schools have a deadline in like October. And I contacted them in August or September, and they were like, "Oh, we already closed the admission." I was like, "Your deadline is October something 30th, and how come you closed the admission?" And they were like, "Oh, we already got the 3 candidates we were looking for, so we don't need to review any more application." So this happens. Okay. So, if you are going to apply for a PhD program, start early on. Some schools, may wait until December or January, but, you are going to limit your chances if you wait that long, because then you will be applying only 1 or 2 of those schools that hold their admission deadlines until later, right? And basically what they are getting is the leftovers, because if they are waiting until January or February, then whoever hasn't got admission in the good schools, they are going to end up applying there, right? So they are basically waiting for them. So you start early if you want to apply for a PhD program. That means that you finish your GMAT in July somewhere, right? Maximum in August, take a GMAT, finish it, and then apply. So you can get admission for the next fall. Any questions?
There was a question that was posed a little bit earlier in the chat. I think it only went to me though. If you get a PhD, do you still need to have a teaching credential to become a professor? Or is that only for like high school and under?
No, you don't need the teaching credentials if you are a PhD. Teaching credentials is for high school. You can teach even with your master's degree, but you're not going to be a professor. You're going to be an adjunct lecturer or adjunct, so it's a part-time position. So you're not required to have teaching credentials at college level. Right. But during the program, you will be teaching. And if you teach, you will have better opportunity to, because you will be competing with other students. So if you are teaching during your PhD program, and then you're competing with someone who hasn't taught any course during the PhD program, then obviously, and you're applying on for a teaching school, then the chances of you getting in will be higher than chances of someone who hasn't taught any course during the program. And there are some PhD programs in which you don't teach at all until the program is over.
So say working as a graduate assistant or a teaching assistant in your master's degree would be beneficial when you're doing admissions or applying for a doctorate.
Yes, it will help.
Awesome.
Yeah, anything extra that you're doing, whether you're working research assistant or teaching assistant, this will be helpful. So make your CV as strong as possible, or resume.
I have a question. How possible do you think it is to get into a PhD program in California with a GMAT score of about 710?
But very likely you can get somewhere, with 710. I think UCI requires 700 minimum, but then you have to also see that, where you are doing your master's from, and who are you competing with, and what is your GPA, and what other things you have done. Are you the tutor of, were you tutoring during your master's program? Were you the president of the accounting society or management society or financial management association? Things like that adds value, right? So just saying that 710, getting a 710 score and getting to PhD program is not sufficient. And usually UCI, if you look at the data, they don't even come near to 710. They come like higher. So I'm not familiar with, what area you're going to apply. Maybe there are other schools, UCR that offers, but in accounting field, there are very limited number of schools that offer PhD in accounting. So USC, UCI, UCLA, UC Berkeley, something like that. They're like very few schools, right? So UCR doesn't have accounting program, and UC Santa Barbara doesn't have accounting program. UC San Diego doesn't have. So not all UCs offer accounting PhD program. So that may be true in your field too, which school you are going to. And Cal States don't offer PhD programs. They are teaching schools. You have to go to a research school. The more the merrier. The higher the score you get in GMAT, the easier it's going to be for you to get your step in. Okay. So how do you prepare yourself for a doctorate program? Well, read some research articles, because PhD is not the same as master's or undergrad program. Okay. When you read research articles, it's going to give you an idea that what kind of stuff you will be expecting during your PhD program. It will be totally different, okay? Take some research method class, because you will be doing a lot of research. So during the PhD program, even if you go to a teaching school after PhD, you will still be doing research. If they are ACSB accredited, they require you to publish some number of papers, per year or every 3 years. So take some research method class, data analytics courses. They are going to help you how to analyze data and stuff like that. Some programming courses, you will be doing programming using SAS or SPSS or Python, whatever you can take, so you can get an idea how to program. Take 1 or 2 programming courses to learn programming. Focus on your research interests. What kind of research you do archival research, behavioral research, So like in accounting, we do behavioral accounting, and when we do capital market. So capital market usually relies on the secondary data. Secondary data is the one that is already available, right? Through CompuStat and CRISP databases and some other databases. Or you use primary data. Most behavioral accounting research relies on the primary data, which uses surveys, experiments, case studies, this kind of research. So look at in your field that what kind of research you're interested in, and then if you are doing, let's say, behavioral, I'm gonna again focus on the accounting side, because that's where my area is. So if I'm doing behavioral accounting, but then within behavioral accounting, if I want to do a managerial accounting research, if I want to do a behavioral tax accounting, if I want to do auditing, judgment and decision making, information systems. So there's various areas within accounting I can do my research. So you have to focus on your research interest and then apply to those schools where you think that they also have some faculty who have the similar research interest as yours, because you'll be working with them. So if you end up, if let's say that the auditing is your research interest and you end up going to a school that does only information system, then who are you going to work with, right? So you need to look at their faculty profile, what kind of papers they publish, where they publish, and then if they tie with your research interest, then you apply to those schools. Polish your reading reading skills. You're going to be doing a lot of reading, reading and reading. You'll be doing a lot of writing and polish your presentation skills. You'll be presenting in conferences and classes over and over and over and over. So these areas require improvement, and your writing is going to be different from what you have done so far at undergrad level or master's level. This is the research writing is different because the journal space is limited. A lot of times the journal require you, let's say that you don't have to use articles, right? So you can't use A and D, you avoid them. So different journals have a different requirement. When you take a research method class or any class that, in which you have to do research, they will tell you that what is expected of you. Work with your professors on some research articles. If you get a chance, ask your professors if you can help them, so you get an idea that what you will be doing during your PhD program. And also it will help you improve your CV, because you're going to have then on your CV you can list that you worked on this article with XYZ professor. Involved in community service, as I said, that join organization, finance society, accounting society, management society, Beta Gamma Sigma, do some work. They are really helpful. Academic organizations like the American Accounting Association, Financial Management Association, those kind of societies, the organizations are really helpful. Honor societies, tutor your students and classmates. That's really helpful to understand, what, especially if you will be teaching right from the first semester. So you need to start early on, right? The best way about your knowledge, whether you know the stuff or not, is if you successfully transmit your knowledge to someone else, right? If you are unable to transmit your knowledge to someone else, then that means you didn't understand well, right? So if you teach your students, if you teach classmates or tutor them, it's going to give you an idea that you are able to explain them or not. Any questions?
On the tutoring point, do you think it's important that we keep a record of our tutoring, or is that just something you think we should be doing for practice?
If you're doing officially, if you tutor for MBA program, for your College of Business, then you can, put it on your record that you tutored. But if you're just helping your classmates, then you cannot put it on your resume, but you can put it on your write-up that, you will have to write about yourself and why you're interested in your statement. Then you can state that you tutored, quite a few number of students and help them in management class, accounting class, and XYZ classes.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, then during the doctorate program, you will be doing a lot of reading, right? Scholarly articles. It's not like you'll be reading books other than research method books, in which you will be learning about regression analysis and structural equation modeling and other stuff. Mostly you will be reading articles, scholarly articles. So you start, reviewing some of them, so you get an idea that what kind of literature you will be facing when you are in the PhD program. The content is nowhere similar to the undergrad work, right? If you are an accounting major, you will not be doing debit and credit. You will not be making an income statement. You will not be doing balance sheet, right? If you are a graduate student, if you are an MBA student, there is nothing you will do similar to what you have done in the MBA program. Because I was MBA student, so I know, right? If you were MS student, you did Master of Science in Accounting and this, so maybe some research method classes and some research work will help you, but it's minimum. Okay, so there is no content-wise, there is no similarities between PhD programs. So get yourself ready. When I went and I saw that, oh, this is what I'll be doing. And, literally it made me cry many times, many days, many nights. It's like why I got into this program. All right. So you need to think about that if that, and it will be like 4 years of your life if you can, um, you know, read those kind of articles and understand them. For me, it was hard. For me, for most of you, if you were born and raised here and English is your first language, um, it will come easy for you. For me, I wasn't born and raised here, so it take me longer than a native speaker to understand the scholarly article, which is written in some alien language, right? So it is hard for native speakers, let alone me and some other folks. They were with me. Um, there is no social life, or there is very limited social life. That depends on maybe when your summer is off, then you can have some social life, and you can go do things while you're focusing on dissertation and stuff. But during the semester, there is no social life, especially in my program, because we were assigned classes right from the first semester, and we were doing PhD as well. So we have to prepare for the classes. This was the very first time we were teaching. So if any one of you are teaching already at MBA level or undergrad level, it would be really helpful. For us, we were just coming like fresh, and we haven't taught in any course, and we were given courses, so we have to prep, and it takes a lot of time to read chapters, prepare material for class, slides, understand it, and understand it in a way that you can transmit that knowledge to a student. And if there, hundreds of students are sitting in front of you and ask questions to you, you should be able to answer them right away, right? So that requires a lot of preparation, okay, for each chapter. Um, Working during the program, no. If you are a PhD student, there is no way you can work. This is more than full-time job, more than full-time job. You're not gonna have time to even sleep many days, especially during exam, let alone you're gonna work. If you're doing a DBA, maybe they allow you to work and you can work or do DBA part-time or work part-time. But with a PhD program, highly unlikely. This is impossible to do PhD while working full-time or even part-time. Lots of sleepless nights you're gonna have. Well, I had many days. I was up from Monday morning through Friday night, like four days or three days, especially the exam weeks. So you're gonna have a lot of sleepless nights. I slept on my chair, many times, like took a nap on chair and then woke up, and I spent many nights in office sitting in school. So that is very common. There is gonna be a stress. There is gonna be a crying, there's gonna be a pretty stressful time. So you need to understand that what you are doing and what's gonna be the end result. So focus on the light at the end of the tunnel. It will help you go through this process. There is no procrastinating. This is not an MBA program or a bachelor's degree where you can just wait until last minute and do your work. No, you have to start early. You are going to have a really hard time finishing the program if you don't start early. We have a student in our one of our colleagues who started program at UT Austin and couldn't finish, failed the comprehensive exam, then had to restart at UT El Paso, and then spend 2 years and end up failing comp exam again. Okay, so wasted 2 years over there, 2 years there, again no degree. So no, there is no procrastinating. You have to work hard, and you have to remember, because there will be a comprehensive exam at the end of your second year, which will cover everything that you have read in the program, especially your major and research methods. Okay, so be prepared for that. Take good notes right from the beginning, so when your exam comes, then you have a less stress. You will be teaching, most of you will be teaching during the program. As I said, that my program required me to teach 4 years while I was in the program. Some research schools, they don't allow you to teach, but most schools ask you to teach. Some will wait until the end of first year, or after 2 years you can teach. So it's good if you teach early on, so you can have by the time you go in the market, you can have 3 years of experience, if not 4, on your CV, that you have taught during the program. That puts you on the next level. If someone is coming with no teaching experience, obviously they're going to have a hard time convincing other institutions that they are a good professor, good teachers, right? By that time, you're going to have the teaching evaluations and everything that can support that you are a good teacher. You will be making good connections, some good connections, some bad connection during the PhD program. Some people will be your lifetime friends forever, because you'll be spending days and nights in the office. And then you may end up making some lifetime enemies too. So that happens. That's very common in PhD program. So get ready for that. You'll be attending conferences, and it is recommended that you attend. Most PhD programs pays for your conference and rooms and meals. So go there and attend conferences, present. You will be presenting in the conferences your research early on. So get ready for that. Prepare to be a slave, right? So, this is one piece of advice that you should remember, that in a PhD program, your professor, you shouldn't be fighting with the professor, or arguing with your professor. They can just ruin your career right there. All right, this is nowhere similar to MBA program or undergrad program. Just whatever they ask you to do, just do. If they ask you to print something, just to print. If you are a research assistant, and you were supposed to do research, but they are asking you to just print copies, print exams, and just do it, right? You don't question them that, oh no, why am I printing? I'm a research assistant, I should be doing research, because that's going to create problem for you later on. Okay, so make sure that you don't confront your professors in a PhD program. A lot of my friends, got stuck due to that. Last 2 years in your PhD programs, this is what you will be doing, that you're going to start working on your dissertation proposal early on, right? After, even or within the first year of the program, you choose your dissertation topic and start working on it. You defend your proposal after 2 years. When you finish your PhD coursework, which is mostly 2 years, you defend your dissertation proposal, so you can go into the job market in your third year, right? For universities budget is approved a year in advance. Okay, so if you are applying for 2021, fall 2021 job, you should have been in market in June or July. Okay, you should have been. Most conferences are in August. You should have been interviewing in the conferences in August or September. You should be having campus visits in September, October, November. Worst case December. You should be getting your job letter in December or January. February. So you have to apply during the third year, and the fourth year you will still keep working on dissertation and defend your dissertation in fourth year before you go out, before you leave the school. If you don't finish your dissertation and you leave the school, you are not gonna finish your dissertation. The chances are that you're gonna end up not finishing your dissertation. This happens to a lot of people because they are away from their dissertation chair, their dissertation committee, and so there is no communication with them, not seeing each other. The research professors get busy in their research with the new students, and then they don't pay attention, and then you're gonna be on your own. You will get busy with your own teaching load, with all new research that is required by the school where you are going. So it's gonna be hard for you to finish your dissertation. So finish your dissertation before you graduate, before you leave the school. In addition, a number of schools require you to have your degree in your hand before you join them. If you join them in 2000, let's say 2021, and you didn't defend dissertation, some of them will have in the contract that if you didn't finish your dissertation, then you probably be working as an instructor, and your pay will be based on the instructor pay, and you will get higher pay once you finish the dissertation. So keep that in mind, that you have to finish your dissertation. Any questions? After finishing the doctorate, what are your employment options? You can work in the academics, you can work in the corporate. If you choose to do academic, you have teaching schools and you have research schools. If you focus on research school, they pay you a lot of money, but you will be doing a lot of research, and they expect you to publish in top tier A quality journal. And a lot of people end up not getting tenure over there because of the publications and requirement and stuff. Your teaching load will be lower, usually 2 classes and sometimes even 1 classes in your early on. If you are in research school, if you are in teaching school, then your focus will be on teaching and research, some research and some service, right? So these 3 are the requirement for all the school: teaching, service, and research. In research school, the research is heavy. In teaching school, teaching is heavy, but research also plays a part, okay? But it's not as heavy. So the example of teaching school is Cal State system, Cal State Long Beach, Cal State San Bernardino, Cal State San Marcos. All the Cal State systems is a teaching school. The research school example is UC's, University of California, Irvine, UCLA, UC Santa Barbara. These are research schools. So some of the examples. Is it worth it? Totally, without any doubt. Will I do it again? Yes, of course, without any hesitation. I would do it just because it provides me a lot of flexibility now, and the benefits I see now, I would do it again. Any questions? And I would like to thank you, MBA office, for arranging this for me and the audience to listening to my boring communication.
It was very enlightening. So I know that it's kind of hard for a lot of MBAs to see themselves going on and pursuing a PhD. So I know that this was very helpful, and it's become more common for us to get this question and to see that there is an option to go and continue education afterwards and become a professor even after getting an MBA. It's enlightening. So I want to thank you for your time. And if there's any other questions, we have a few minutes left. I know some of you have class that start in maybe 12 minutes. So please feel free to ask some questions. If you have them, you can either type them out, I can ask them, or just feel free to speak up and ask the questions.
I don't have any more questions, but I did want to say thank you, Dr. Zaidi, I believe it's pronounced.
You're welcome, Devin.
I found your information very helpful, so thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll share my slides with Kristen, and if Kristen wants to share with you, then you're more than welcome.
I just have a quick one question, Dr. Zaidi.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So just like I know you mentioned in the beginning how you did the education in Pakistan as well. So how's the experience compared to United States and Pakistan, like education experience? Can you share that a little bit?
Yes. So I believe, Sahil, you're from India?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes.
So
There too. Yeah.
the education system in Pakistan is a British education system, similar to India, right?
Yes.
So we grew up having one exam towards the end of the year, right?
Okay.
All the classes, whatever you're taking, 5 classes and 6 classes, that's the one chance you have, right? If you screw up that day, you are sick or whatever, your parents are sick or whatever issue you have, car got stolen or something,
Yeah.
you have to remember that's the only chance you have, or then you have to wait for another year to take the exam.
Yeah.
And you have to prepare, like there is no notes or anything. You have to just remember the whole book. There is no important questions that, oh yeah, I'll cover like break-even analysis and this cover. No, this is the whole book for each course. So the education system here is very easy, and I'm sure that whoever is studying there, they are spoiled and they don't take advantage of this, because you have points for homework, you have points for quizzes, you have points for class participation, you have points for this and that, and all the exams are spread evenly. Like you have exam 1, exam 2, exam 3, yet still I've seen a lot of students complaining about this and not performing well in the courses. So my education background over there helped me to stay, and sit on my chair for long hours, because we used to sit like a month in advance or 2 months in advance before our 10th grade exam, 9th grade exam, 11th, 12th. They all exams were board exams over there. And the exams were not prepared by the professors or teachers you're teaching. It was prepared by the board, just like a CPA exam is prepared by the board, CMA exam, or any other exam is prepared by the board. So you go there and you don't know what to expect. And then you take exam, come back, and then 4 months later, the result come in your newspaper that you passed this class, you failed this class, and the exam is checked by someone else too. It is not checked by your professor, and you don't take exam in your own university or college either. You were given a registration number, you were sent to another school where no one knows you, and that's how you take the exam. So that helped me sitting long hours during the PhD program to study, because I was used to of studying that much.
Right. Makes sense. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for the great insights. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We have a question in the chat, and then I just want to remind everyone that if you're going to use this for your passport, please make sure to take a screenshot so you can submit it into the survey that I created. And then the question was, how long did it take from undergrad to PhD to finish?
Christian? Okay, so I finished my undergrad in 2003 from Cal State Long Beach, and then after that I started working for a company in Irvine, Nationwide Funding. It's a leasing company. I worked there about 8 months. Then I started my own business in Victorville, and I did that for about a year and 1 month. Then I came back to San Bernardino for my master's. So there was a gap between my master's and my undergrad degree. So I started my master's in 2006, and I finished my master's in 2007, right? In a year, or a year and 1 quarter, 13, 14, 15 months or something like that. So from master's, after that, I started preparing for my GMAT again, for my PhD program. And 2008, I joined the PhD program. So if you look at 2003, my undergrad, so after 5 years, I started my PhD program, but that is because I have a gap between my master's and undergrad, and I also had a 1-year gap between my master's and PhD.
Okay, so typically it would probably take about 4 years for undergrad, between a year to 2 for a master's, and then 4, you would say, for PhD?
My student, Alicia, she finished her undergrad in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Then she finished her master from UCI in 1 year. And then she is starting PhD. She started her PhD now. So after bachelor's, it took her 1 year. So it's person to person, right?
Person to person, yeah, definitely. I think we have time for one more question, which was asked, and I think it's probably going to be a good one. If you could give advice to your past self during your master's degree journey, what would it be?
From my master's degree?
Yeah.
Well, my master's, I helped a lot of students during my master's program, right? And that's why my professors recommended me. I used to lead my groups. There was a lot of presentation in my controllership class. And, when you do group work, then you will find someone, is performing lousy job and you end up doing it. And I was very picky about my stuff that, I wanted to get the highest grade, not just, um, not just an A in the course or that particular assignment, but the highest grade. So I end up fixing a lot of stuff myself and end up writing papers myself and, and doing my group members work myself. And that helped me to prepare myself, right? A lot of them, they didn't pass the comp exam in one time, in second time, they didn't pass. Some of them did. There were only 2 people from my course that passed comp exam in first attempt. One of them was me, right? So it helps you if you're always going to have people in business where you're working. They are not going to do a job. So if you do it, it's going to help you. Same as with the school. If you help other students, teaching some concepts, and this is going to help you. If you do their work, you end up writing the paper, that was supposed to be done by them, then it's going to help you. It's going to improve your writing. So those are the things that helped me during my master's program. I don't know if I answered your question.
So basically, it's kind of how I view it too, especially with teamwork, is don't view it as a hindrance, right? View it as a learning experience. You'll be able to help yourself by, because you're going to experience that later in life as well. You're going to experience it in the workplace. You're going to experience it in other aspects of your life, is that people are going to do what they're going to do, and the ability for you to make up for that and still move on and move forward is extremely important.
Right. What I used to do for group assignments, instead of assigning it to, I used to be group leader. So instead of assigning it to one portion to one person, I used to assign 2 people doing the same portion. So that way I have 2 views to see. And then, the other questions, other part, 2 more people are doing. So I see their point of view, and then I, have my own point of view, and then I add that too. So I put it together. So that was very helpful for me. Any other questions?
Thank you. I think that was it. A lot of thank yous. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to come speak to us and speak to the students about continuing education and seeking your PhD. So we really appreciate it. I know you stayed late at work, so we're going to let you go and have a wonderful evening, okay?
Thank you, Christine, and thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.